Everybody, guess who was a bad streamer and clicked record and not stream? It is me, and I'm already having issues in the server. That's great. I love that. That is... That's fantastic. The bullshit's piling high, and it's barely 9 AM. Oh my god. I just want to play on my own server. Do I have to relaunch Minecraft? I might have to relaunch Minecraft. I'm gonna relaunch Minecraft. Lovely start. Absolutely lovely start. I just want to play my own server. My cat's chirping. I got a bunch of trees and such outside my window, and he is very pleased this morning. He's been chirping away. He's a very happy boy. Aren't you, Dusty? Yes. Yes. Hi. How are you? Yes. Oh. Oh, the itches. Yes, yes, yes. Very happy kitty. I'm almost tempted to do more face cams just so I can... Oh, there's a flock of birds that just flew past the window. I'm almost tempted to do more face cam just so I could show off Dusty more. Ah, no, my coffee. Ah. Okay, Minecraft opening, please, for the love of stars. Please. I got stuck in my boat, was the problem. I got stuck in my boat. I couldn't escape it. Wouldn't be a Minecraft stream without some type of problem. Yeah. I need to bring back the video bingo again for this episode, I think. I really enjoyed doing it last time. I'm amazed at how quickly I got it done. I think this is a good moment to bring up the bingo. Because this is technical difficulties. I'm gonna pull it up on stream for like a hot second. I have a parent. What do you mean fail to connect to server? It's my goddamn server. Okay. Where have I kept these images? They are in stream, aren't they? No. What do you mean disconnect? I am the server owner. What is this issue? Hello, Zimki. Welcome back. Or Zimiki, pardon. What do you mean? I just want to log into my own server. Oh my. You know what? We're gonna completely close Minecraft again. Where was I? Was I keeping it in here? Where did I keep that? I kept it somewhere. Is it here? Yes, it's here. Okay. Last time. Oh, that's what that was. I'm using the wrong image source. That was the fish I keep behind my VTuber. If my VTuber ever fails, we have that. Oh, I was showing that off last time. Where is here? Video bingo. That is way too large. So this is have to remind me to actually promote. What do you mean Passion SMP is offline? Try restarting the server? Is it offline? Hold on. Multicraft. Logic servers. I'm still live, so why is my internet horrible? It's taking forever to... It's... online 0 out of 13 players? What? What? Alright, I guess we restarted the server. Nobody's on anyway, might as well. So this video bingo is have to remind me to actually promote things like follow the Tumblr, follow Twitch if you're here right now, that'd be great, or go find it. It'd be fantastic, that'd help me a lot. Or other things that I tend to do, like and or Racecar / Billy Bob causing chaos again. Or I happen to have weird random luck that saves me for no particular reason. Or of course Dusty interrupting is another good one. Okay, can I open my own server now? Let me get rid of this. But yeah, this definitely falls under the... not a game crash, but where is it? Tech issue. Right there, left of the free space. Get rid of that. I just wanna... We are going through trials on the SMP. I meant that as trial chambers. We are going through trials on the SMP. What streak? Hell yeah. Nice. At least I can still someway at that note. I used to be able to hit that note really easily, even higher pitch than that. Whereas I have I think I still have the source. I have a sound file on my computer for when I started streaming early on. And let me see if this will actually...
Nice!
No?
Nice!
I think you guys could hear it, but I can't. Hold on, where's filters? Let me add the audio monitor so I can hear it.
Nice!
Yeah, I can't hit that anymore. I could get a noise, but that's the closest I can get. So let me get rid of that media source. You're on? Okay, let's see if I can get on. This is as easy as it is. That's all it takes. I don't know why it's taken 3 times to open. There are so many technical difficulties this morning. I clicked start recording instead of start streaming. I was lagging out because I had Distant Horizons on, and I couldn't leave this frickin' boat. There we go. Finally, I just wanted to show off that the Nether Hub is done. It's all done. I did the entire east line, which is everything from this center all the way out here. I did all of that yesterday, and I managed to somehow get other things done too. And I had to break 20 bedrock for this. I know it was roughly 20. Because at one point I counted, oh, I only have 13 left, but before that I had to break... I think it was about 8... So it was closer to 30, I think, actually. Because I had to break 2 rows of completely solid bedrock, and then I had 13 left, so that's about 30, actually. So that's great. But the Nether Hub is done. All I have to do is probably after, or towards the end of stream, we'll go around real quick and I'll add a couple signs about. But otherwise, it's done. It's all done. And I don't gotta worry about it anymore. Except adding oh, yes, group. Except adding coconuts base. Live. Open up. And then do this part. There we go. And we can go back to base. And because I was recording and not streaming, I'm gonna show off what I've done. Which is not a lot. I just have beautiful, organized storage, and I'm very happy with it. There we go. It's just nice, pretty storage. And I'm probably gonna go about decorating some of the biome portals as well. Oh wait, hold on. Bigger thing, I terraformed a bunch of this area, and I'm still gonna terraform even more of it. I just terraformed around the paths for now, but I'm definitely gonna change out how the paths look. But I'm starting to like how this feels a lot more, because it puts way more emphasis. Hello. Puts a lot more emphasis on the entrance. You want to come in out of the rain? I'll leave the door open for you. Get rid of the night. You may not rest now, there are monsters. Is there a witch on my roof? What's on my... Yes, there is. Excuse me. This is my house. Out of here. No. No, it's me. It's me. Cue 5 Nights at Freddy's. But we are beautifully organized, and I have a bunch of particles going around the house because I've hidden not only spore blossoms, but some firefly bushes in my columns. So there's a little spore blossom hidden up there. I have 2 of these in this column and that column, and then underneath these are firefly bushes. So it just adds a little more particle effects in here. That's pretty. Yeah, yes, I am talking on Minecraft. I can see it going. Whoosh! Hello, Axe. Welcome back. Can't hear. Uh-oh. relog. Gotta say it in chat just in case you don't still have the stream on. Sometimes it's literally just a relog issue, or it's not like actually connecting to your speaker and it's decided to click a different speaker for some reason. Oh, there's Coconut. But anyway, yes. I have beautiful storage, and it's very organized. I'm very happy with it. We have all my woods in here, plus some storage, and there's a... Why are you in my house? Out of my house. Thank you. There are wood blocks in here, and some things associated with the woods. We have a bunch of extra blocks, and some various miscellaneous stuffs in here. And then on the other side, I have my miscellaneous placeables and miscellaneous non-placeables, which is mainly just dyes and mob loot. Hydrate? Yes, I will hydrate. Water bottle. Agua. Oh, I added more paths to the server, too. And with adding more paths to the server, I did take like an hour. One, I added Distant Horizons to my own version of the mod pack. So if I turn it on, and hopefully it doesn't ruin the stream quality again. There we go. Oh, yeah, I'm definitely lagging running this and stream at the same time, but it looks gorgeous. Can I just, maybe if I just turn it down, it'll still be fine. If I were, because I do have it at 60, but it can go to the minimum of 32. Is this still fine? This ain't too bad quality. I'm willing to work with this. This is fine. But look at it, it's beautiful, and because of the way Distant Horizons works, you do have to run around when Distant Horizons is active and actually on your mod pack for it to see all of it. My home? Yes, your home, and I can very obviously see the ship now. I can see Skip's home. When I have it set to the 60, I can look all the way out and see Josh's home. And when I have it set to 60, I can see the sky base. If we go a little... Oh, there it is. I can see the sky base. There we go. Yeah, sometimes it's just annoying you have to relog. I can see everything around here. It's beautiful. And it's not ruining my computer. But in doing this... Oh yeah, hold on. There's the very obvious. There are two brand new bridges over here. There's a bridge right there. The horse elevator thing is now officially fixed. And working. So let's actually run around this with Sanic. Because I spent a while running around the server with Sanic in order to train him. And I now have him fully trained, so he's a nice, speedy, fast, jumpy horse. Or did I? I think I did spend the time. Yes. He is a complete 5 out of 5 star horse. And apparently there's an achievement for that. I don't... What button do I have for achievements? Do I have my button for advancements? Where is... Would it be under husbandry, perhaps? Mayhap? Perhaps? Yes. Fully train a horse. How trained. Underneath, after best friends forever. But now he's a nice, speedy horse, and I can run around the server because I added a bunch of paths, and I'm continuing to add paths. My goal is to add a path to basically everybody's base, including all the way out to Penguin. And even up and over to Josh's area. Hello. And just run past. Penguin is going to be the fun one, because she's all the way out there. So I'm going to have to continue from Misty's along this coastline, make a short bridge here. Along that coastline, make an extra long bridge. Little coastline. Another bridge. And then hopefully I can mostly do paths from there. And then she actually has a bridge right there, so we can just connect to that. Boo. Hello, X. Feel free to join PC. There we go. And to join group in general. And we have a lovely little elevator over here. I figured out the tiny little thing I was missing to make the water elevator work at all, and I just needed scaffolding. I just needed to have scaffolding. It does, like, knock you... Oh. I need to turn off Distant Horizons, because it is lagging me, even though I love it. Where did Sanic... Oh, Sanic's all the way down here. Sorry. Oh! Sorry, buddy. No, I pushed him off again. I did want to do this instead of like wind charges or something, but it does have a limit of how high you can go on the horse. And if you're not on the horse, it can just propel the horse into the air. So in my testing, I did kill a copy of Sanic. Because he accidentally walked on the pressure plates without me on him, and he just went in the air like a giant killing a level 1 player in Skyrim. It was not good. But it's all done. I made a bunch of paths, and they're so pretty, and they're all about the server now. At least this main area of the server. Also, hi X. And we still need to find... Okay, I said this, but Hello. I clicked recording at the beginning of the stream, not streaming. Yes, what is it? What? Look.
What?
Oh no.
I don't like the sound of that.
It's a backpack full of diamond ore.
Oh.
I said this at the beginning of stream, but I didn't click stream, I clicked recording. We're gonna be doing trial chambers today. And oh my dear, why is my VTuber lagging? Why are you lagging as you... Okay, we're gonna reload this. I do not understand. At least all the technical difficulties are at the beginning of stream. Knock on wood. So hopefully, this will be fine. If it loads, then we can get back to the things. Please. Thank you. It's still ever so slightly laggy. It's definitely laggier than it should be. What do I have like the bare essentials open. Okay, we're closing Discord. I now have 3 things open. VTube Studio, Minecraft, and OBS. It shouldn't be this laggy. It took it 2 extra seconds in order to do that head shake. That is a problem. Is Steam open when I don't need it to be? Task manager, yes. Steam, are you open when you shouldn't be? No, you're closed. So why? Why? It's not like I have, okay, hold on. There's one thing I can change. Let me turn the quality to fast. Because I did have it set to fancy. I have 2 things open, Minecraft and a list of puns. That checks. Okay, we're close the folder. VTube Studio, please. Please. I simply wish to stream on this fine Saturday morning and drink my coffee. No. It's working better. It's better than it was. I'll take it. Never mind. Just never mind, apparently. I'm tempted. You know what? Hold on. We're gonna open. We're gonna get the shitty Mew. Couldn't be that. Oh my god. I know you're in the... Is it because I dared move it to my desktop? Is this why you were pitching a fit? Must you require it to be in the folder? I'm not trying to click it open, I'm trying to drag it into its proper folder. Copy and replace. I just want to stream. I can't even open the shitty PNG tuber. Oh, I saw there was a text for a second. I want to see something funny. What? And it's starting night. I'm gonna go inside the house. At least stand in here. Why are you still compressing this? Can I just open it here? Can I open this? No. No, have I broken everything? I'm gonna turn this to full screen for a second, because I have it minied most of the time. I can't cancel. Can't. What happens if I task manager my folders? Is that a bad decision? I just want to throw this in here. That's all I want to do, because apparently pulling it out of the file breaks it. I just wanted to have it so I could open it on my desktop. Close! Okay. I am doing a roundabout. Can I extract all? Cannot complete until compress. But you won't finish processing the cancel. We're task manager. Task manager open. Windows, Explorer, restart. There goes my entire desktop, but it's fine. Because that is already a problem that occurs. Okay. Downloads. We're gonna go to this. I'm gonna click extract all, so it's not being annoying. What do you mean copying 67 items? Thank you. Replace. Thank you. So now, apparently, one, I'm not allowed to have this on my home screen, so I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. I'm gonna move around how my home screen's organized for like 2 seconds. There we go. Beautiful. And then actually save how my home screen is, because I had to specifically get an application called Desktop OK, because every time I open my computer from powering it off, or apparently if I dare close, if I dare make Windows Explorer restart its task, it also does that, so that's great to know. Every time I open my computer, it throws all of my, like, desktop icons and my folders to the top left-hand side of the screen, and it's not even organized either. It's just throws it in a mess at the top left. And there's no why, reason, or how. It just does. And it doesn't help I have all of these custom... Oh my god. Yeah, I should have expected. It doesn't help I have all of these custom placed with some little custom widgets, and I've lost my mouse. You guys can see my mouse. I can't see my mouse. Now I can see my mouse. Okay. And everything why are you not... Why? Let me move... I moved the PNG Mew. Let me move them back. There we go. Let me put them down a little lower. Perfect. Beautiful. Okay, we got PNG Mew for this stream. Because my VTuber don't want to work. And it's nighttime. I'm going to sleep. It is a half hour in, and we haven't even found any trial chambers or gone to anything yet. Okay. Let me do some funky monkey. Open the pie chart, tick level, entities, unless somebody, or not entities, pardon. We need block entities, so we can find nearby trial chambers. And I'm gonna look for one, and hopefully there should be one nearby. I'd expect there is. If not, I do have one saved, but it's a little farther away. So I'm hoping, yep, there's one around here. I love knowing how to use the pie chart. 3k blocks, I'm 200 blocks. What? Oh, that's granite, that's why. And of course it's a water cave. Right in the middle of this. We're gonna go down. I did so many trial chambers for I don't even remember what last season. Oh, it's because I wanted a decorative heavy core for the town center. So I spent like a good month just doing trial chambers. We go down about -20, should do. We should see it on the mini-map, underground, somewhere around here. Oh, there it is. It's like way over there. Okay. I'll put a temp waypoint and I'm gonna make this way easier. Do not come down the tunnel I'm in. I have a better spot. Otherwise, we're gonna have to dig a good, like, 50 blocks out. When we could just make a new tunnel. Hello there. Whoa. It's actually right over here. Because I'm not good at reading chunks, apparently. Whoa. And now the slow descent. AKA that one Hypixel minigame. Why do I hear baby child? I heard that. There was a baby child there. Oh, yep. We're in it. Oh, this is a great center. I don't know about anybody else. I got a bunch of potions. Oh, that's why I hear baby child. That's right here. Bad Omen 5, anyone? And probably grab your chest plate if you're wearing your Elytra. Yeah, I see you. I know. You're so scary. You got a child behind you. Oh. Where's a barrel so I can get rid of all this? I can't double jump because I'm not wearing an Elytra. Up, 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 up. Trials edition. Do you have any keys?
Oh, jeez.
I thought I had some extra keys.
How do? Oh crap! How do I get down?
Didn't I have? I have keys. I thought I did. Food. You need food? I have food. I have plenty of food. There's water. Anyone need food?
I think I'm okay.
Okay. Oh, that's what came out of the spawner. Okay. Just preemptively, I'm gonna grab extra arrows.
Shit, I forgot my chest plate. We'll see how this goes, because this might not be good, but that's okay.
Best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna run up real quick, because apparently I have a bunch of keys on me. So I'm just gonna... Don't mind me. What if I get a heavy core? Just wow, perhaps. What if I did?
3 achievements all at once. Holy crap. Fancy,
well, I got 2 Bad Omen bottles. Frickin'. We got a Bad Omen 3 and another Bad Omen 5. Fantastic. And a smithing template, apparently. Jump backpack. Boop boop. Don't need no rotten flesh. Get out of here. Boop boop. Cool. Chest. I will take honeycomb. Always, thank you. I can't. I keep trying to fly. I cannot glide. I do not have an elytra on. Excuse me, sir. No. Also, before you know it, this place is gonna be absolutely desecrated, I swear. It's gonna happen. It's close enough to spawn that it's just gonna happen. I know I've already desecrated one a little farther away. Oh, silverfish, hi. I want to make just like a ridiculously overpowered farm, silverfish farm, for no particular reason. Just to see if I can. Have like 20 armadillos. Cool. Yeah, silverfish. Get out of here. Yes. Whoop. And just food. Yeah, that one didn't drop much. Those didn't seem to drop anything. Doesn't... There's one right there. But does it have anything? GD free cam? Yes, it does. Okay. Over here. You kind of have to jump over to it and parkour over. Actually, you know what? There's a center to this. Why not? What is the point of the barrels, by the way? What's the point of the hopper barrel? I'm just
Decoration? I don't know.
I don't understand.
An odd.
Oh, it's one of these. And move around my inventory even more for no particular reason.
I've never been inside one of these before.
Ooh, you've never done a trial chamber?
Never.
Ooh, you are in for a treat. So I'm guessing you've never fought the breeze yet, have you?
No.
Where's the frickin'... There's a way up. I know there is. Where is it? Did it just say no? Apparently, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just water bucking it. People incoming. They might drop down to you. I just want hi buddies. Do you give me? I wanna. Yes. Oh, that's not what I wanted to pick up. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Okay, that didn't work as well as I hoped.
Come on. Just give. I'm trying to do a thing. Please. Please. No. No. Give. Y'all are in the way, and it's very frustrating. It's very annoying. I do not need you to be here. I am trying. Oh my god, my right hand of the screen is just purely subtitles. Okay. I just want for like 2 seconds. Y'all shut up. Out of my face. Out of my face. Come here. Come here. Give.
Holy shit.
No, I'm trying. Oh, you suck. Come on, attack
sorry,
me.
Coconut.
Breeze, attack
Sorry.
me. You suck. And I really need to turn off subtitles. Okay. Come on, attack. Attack me. These guys suck. I heard that fart. Hello. Subtitles. No. Hi, bump guy. Okay, where's the breeze? I need the breeze to attack me. I want to do a thing. Bruh. Okay, I got enough breeze rods to do this. Let's see. We're gonna do a thing. Throw these at me, please. I need to do a thing. Throw it at me.
Okay. Hang on. I gotta get it.
You use it like a snowball. Do it again. I'm trying to do a thing. Ah, does it not work the same?
You want me to try it again?
Yes. Is that... Oh. I got it to work a few times, but I immediately threw it back again. Thank you. Anyway, well, I've been trying to do this entire time, and the entire reason I wanted to go to a trial chamber, I found out by pure accident you can actually hold the wind charges with carry on. I don't know why, but you can. I've just woken up, saw you live, haven't vibed in one of these in a while. Yeah. Welcome back, Pumpkin. I figured as much. I've been doing earlier streams, so... is there an ominous key in this place, or did we just, get unlucky? I swore there was one, they're just kind of hidden. Oh, yeah, sorry, hold on, let me... Oh, found it. Right here. Bop. And diamonds and a template, okay. Might not be here long. I'm only up this early because the spawn pilot wants to go shopping. Oh, because the spawn point wants to go shopping. Okay. Got a heavy core. I shouldn't be surprised. Does this count for the video bingo as Racecar shenanigans?
Probably.
Did you do your key?
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
You just click on it. There, since you haven't done trial chambers, I'm gonna real quick go over it. There are 2 different types of keys. These are the ominous keys. They'll give you better stuff, and they're rarer. You can only get them with high-level Bad Omen bottles. And then low-level or no Bad Omen bottles in a trial chamber will give you the trial keys, which are orange, and go to the other vaults that we've been seeing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, like, if you come down here, these tiny vaults, these mini ones that are orange and glow orange instead of blue, these go to the tiny keys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Bubbles, yeah. The stutter, it's just gonna happen. The stutter will just happen. It doesn't matter how much I try and work to help it, it does not. It just doesn't.
Why do you have 8 elytras?
Because he went and did a bunch of end busting.
Good grief.
And he's the reason we added a respawning shulkers mod. Is there anything over here? Nah, just. Oh, we do have that now, by the way. I should mention that, because I think that might have gone unnoticed. Oh, hello. Is this... Oh, this is a fun one. Oh, I found a snow room. That's what it is. You ready for this lovely time? Because it's a lovely time.
I don't know if I'm ready.
What? Why do you just mine down into it?
I don't know.
That is possibly the worst way to go about that. But okay. Is there... Oh, there are ones up there. Okay, hold on. I'll get those. Wah. Get yoinked. Oop.
Holy shit.
And what? Yeah, they're fun. They're a whole bunch of fun. Sometimes there will be baby spawner ones, and because we're doing a level 5, you might end up with a baby zombie with a diamond chestplate and diamond sword. Just perhaps.
Geez.
Perhaps. It might occur. I got an arrow right in my face. This is great. It's funny because I was having a dream of us just stuttering. That tends to happen. Man, I'm gonna have to put an actual sneeze of effort into the day. I saw that text last night, Pumpkin. I still understand the sneeze of cheese. I am concerned of how many... Last night, Pumpkin texted a group, it's like little group chat I'm in with them. I want a compilation of all the times I've said sneeze of cheese. Or sneeze of insert thing. And it's certainly a measurement. It is that. I can't see it. Okay, I don't want to turn off my first person. My water? I don't want to turn off my first person, but I might have to. Because there's an arrow directly in my face. The vault's back here, by the way. Give?
Oh.
Yeah. Danke. Somebody picked up my key. Someone picked up mine.
I might have.
There you go. Now I have the map. Cool.
Wow, you have a lot of arrows. You have a lot of arrows in you.
Yep. I felt like cosplaying a pincushion.
Hang on, I gotta clear some inventory.
I shouldn't be surprised.
As it continues. The
20
20-meter
pacer
test will begin in
test.
30 seconds.
I can't
Line
even
up at the
say the
start.
thing correctly.
The running speed
The speed starts slowly, but then gets faster
minute
each
after
step.
you hear this signal.
I don't know the thing
A
apparently.
single lap should be completed each time you hear this sound.
Bing.
Remember to run in a
Wow, I
straight
got a
line
banner
and
pattern.
run as
That's
long
so
as
cool.
possible. The second time you fail to
So
complete a
cool.
lap before the sound, your test is over.
But.
The test will begin on the word start. On your mark, get ready, start.
What's happening?
Wait, can we have just a circle? We're gonna, yep, there you go. Circle of bats.
I think my pat thing is working. That's okay. Okay. I'm having fun. Oh wait, hang on. Why? Why is it not working?
Auto clicker. That's fair. Someone just casually leaving an ender chest?
I guess, I don't know.
Alright. Noted. Elsewise, upstairs. Spawners. Up. There's one zombie boy chilling up here. I'm gonna preemptively for the babies.
Oh, there's a few of them.
Well, that didn't last long. I don't have food, that's why. Well, you know, having like more than 2 people is extremely overpowered for these. Okay.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Keys are just junk. Probably junk.
Just junk.
Well, it's usually something good, or you just don't care about it. Cheaty, anything useful? Oh, there's one upstairs. There's 2 chambers in my tunnel. That's fair. I think I went down a random... Oh, this is a silverfish one. I think I went down a random cave at some point, and I happened to open my mini-map and just saw there's a bunch of... There's a trial chamber, so I have it saved. I've already looted it, but if y'all want something fun, I found a ancient city in the end. It's a fair bit out, but it just has phantoms, and they don't even bother attacking you half the time. Had a good amount of god apples though. Nope, keys. Oh, 1, 2, axe. Because of the diamond netherite. Oh, yeah, that too. Ox. There you go. Behind you.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
And I forgot to pick up my water. Yeah, good. And that one's drunk. Why?
Nice.
Boop.
We're just like throwing shit. We're just like, throw it away. Alright, y'all. It's my turn. I'm getting my shit.
Banner, emeralds. Ooh, we got a potion. Bad omen.
Yeah. Yep, another bad omen potion. Bad omen 4.
Ooh. Second highest.
I think that's better than my 3 that I got. Oh, what the heck? Yeah.
I expect no less. If nothing else, this counts as the chaos. Did you just pick up a heavy core? I think coconut. Yeah. Yeah. Alright. Against all odds, I also get a heavy core. Got apple, arrows, wind charge, emerald.
Think so everyone
diamond.
has a hard core or
No.
a heavy core but me.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
I know I've gotten one at some point. I don't think I bothered to do. No, I'm thinking of last season. I don't think I've gotten one yet.
Oh wait, I lied. I do have a heavy core.
Core? Or not general items, core. Nope, I don't think I've gotten one because it's not showing up in my items. Nope. I already have one, don't need it. Jab. Or already jab one. Yeah, jab it.
Jab it.
This is surprisingly chill for a trial chamber. Like, I know why, but also it just is. And then somebody's already gone down to this one, apparently, but I'm gonna go do it anyway, because I need to. Anybody want a chest plate? We have fire protection 2, and a breaking 2. Bit. I do want that in a specific spot. And pop. And I have a whopping 10 god apples. Lovely. Bamboo hanging sign. Like I need that. Anything? No, I think it's just the major one left. I'm going the wrong way. And just this bad boy over here. Hi!
Oh my gosh.
Wait. Give to me. I picked it up! I got it.
Well, I have an elytra.
Okay,
now,
I have
so,
to. You can't like randomly throw. You have to place it again. So didn't do a lot.
Man, I really need to upgrade my armor so badly.
Weren't you going netherite mining for a bit, or did you lose your stuff?
I did, and then my hammer almost broke, so I had to come back. And unless there's another more efficient XP farm, the silverfish one is really slow.
That's fair. I need to go around some point and upgrade the Enderman farm. Try and get that done next week, perhaps? Let's get it, boy.
Ah! Oh my god.
Oh. Excuse me. Out of here.
Shit!
Home run. Another baseball term that I don't know. Or golf term, honestly. I don't know either enough. Oh. Is that all?
Whee!
Where's the skellies hanging? Oh, I'm right there. I swear. Oh.
Y'all, there's a lot. Oh my god, there are so many. There's so many down here.
And so many old mans, so many breezes.
Oh my god.
I think I'm gonna steal. I'm tempted to steal a couple of the breeze spawners in order to make farms out of it. Because we can pick them up, just like the spawners. Nookies. Alright. Oh, well. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Racecar's already picked it up. I was going exactly for that. I'll take that. I think that's it. that is all of this.
That is the trial chamber.
Yep. Did it, I'm done. I got what I wanted done. I really just wanted to mess with the wind charge and see what I could do with it and pick it up.
I have one.
That is
key
the
left.
entire reason I wanted. I still have 2. I don't. Or wait, we didn't get the key in this room. So I know I still have extra. It's somewhere, if I remember. Or this might not have one. Some of them just don't have an ominous key. It might not. Yeah, I don't think so. Okay. That sucks. So yeah, it's just dispensers in here. There's no spot for it.
Dang. That's
That
unfortunate.
sucks. Ooh, yeah, we can go to the end.
Nice.
Because I did mention I have that, oh, that's why. That is why there's a bunch of water. Somebody was using a destructor hammer. Yeah, sure. Inventory organized, but. And then back. And then back. I think the nearest portal to this place is probably mine. Once y'all get up here. There's one. You got it?
No. I gotta eat because I'm gonna die.
That'd be a smart choice.
Okay, I gotta. Can I thread it in the needle?
Damn it, me and this cup are not getting along.
God damn it. Not quite. Hang on.
This is the second time I almost spilled my coffee. Oh.
Oh my god. Nope.
Almost.
Almost had it. Alright.
There you
There
go.
we go. I figured it out. I can elytra.
What? Yeah, my portal's definitely the closest one. Someone released the sea turtles. Oh no, sea turtle's still here. Okay. There is one. There's 2. Coconut's lollygagging. Just watching the horizon. There we go.
Oh yeah.
There we go. And now the nether hob's done, so we can just do whatever we want to get down there. Boat anybody?
Hell yeah.
Boat party?
Hell yeah, boat party, boat party.
Who's stealing the boat? There we go. Yeah. And there goes my boat. Well.
Oh.
Racecar stole my boat. Okay. Nope. There you go. Oh, they're just gonna fly. Okay. We boat.
Yep, we boat. Onward.
Oops, somebody's got an echo.
Ooh, yeah. Race car. Picture damn echo.
Hello. Goodbye. What?
Whee! Ah.
Yep, there you
Okay,
go.
there we go. I can leave a boat.
boat.
I'm figuring out the mechanics of Minecraft.
To be fair, mechanics of Minecraft, like, ignoring, like, oh, mechanics of controls. Mechanics of Minecraft are annoying. And half the time don't make a lick of sense. Okay, where do I have this actually saved?
Holy shit, with shaders, the end
Oh,
looks very
I have
foggy.
2. Oh, that's End City. Okay. Let's... I want to chat. Position. Oh, that. It's all the way out there. Or it'd actually be better if I just say shared it, huh? Share waypoint. There we go. I got extra fireworks.
Holy shit, the shaders make this place look so fucking cool.
There you go.
Hell yeah.
Let me turn on bloop for a second. Bloop. After my game lags. Ooh! Oh, I love that.
Do you like the vibe? It is so cool.
Oh.
It's like foggy.
That's dope. How does Stream actually run surprisingly well with it? Racecar!
Dude. Don't you dare.
Okay, wait. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not surprised. Oh, you didn't. Okay. What is the closest? I feel like one of these gateways is going to be the fastest way out there. Wait, I'm looking... Am I looking the right direction? No, I am not. There we go, this one.
No?
Probably this one up here. Anyone need a water bucket up?
Yeah.
Alright.
Thank you.
Yep. Yep. You gotta sprint swim into it.
Oh, you have to sprint swim into it?
Yeah, because it's a 1x1.
That didn't quite work as well as I hoped it would.
Or I can move it up a block and then you could Lytra glide in.
I can also... Let's see. Never mind. I can't. I thought I had an ender pearl on me, but I don't.
Oh, almost.
Ah! Yeah, almost had it. Dang it. I forgot how short that area is. Or tiny. There
I think short works.
I figured it out.
And of course, I immediately missed after that.
Oh.
Yep. Oh! Barely. And temples... Ancient city, this way. For 3,000. And of course, Racecar's already almost there.
Bruh.
Thank you for joining Mutation CIP flights. We are going to be cruising for about 2,000 more meters. Please keep all hands and feet inside your elytra. And be prepared with your peanuts. There is no in-flight service, as this is not long enough for it. So enjoy the scenery, and hopefully, perhaps a few Endermen will walk off in stupidity.
Hell yeah.
This is such a long flight. I went a really roundabout way to find this, so this is the first time I'm taking a direct path to it. Because the way I found this, you can get a map for it from other structures. I didn't get mine the first flight. You can get a map for these from other structures, so I was going around trying to get to cities for shulkers at one point. And I think I found it was not a buried treasure, but a abandoned ship. As in, like, the beached abandoned ship from the overworld. There's an end version of it, and some of those can have maps in it. And I found it that way.
Well, that's a problem. I'm out of fireworks.
Oh,
Well, shit.
let me get back to you. I'm not too far from you.
Okay.
Where? Meet by the ship. You see it? You just went past it, I think.
It's... My shaders make it really fucking hard to see. Like, anything.
It certainly helps that I have, not only the shaders, but the compass to help me.
Oh, shit.
You might be a little bit up too high.
I see it. I might be too low.
Oh, no. Are you good? Because you don't have rockets, right?
Yeah.
What is your Y level? Because if you're above 60, you're fine.
1384.
You are way too high.
Okay.
Is that your Y or your...
That's my Y. I don't know why I am
You are
so high.
way up high then. Because I'm standing on the island and I'm at 66.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. So, nosedive, but carefully. And keep an eye on your Y. Oh, your tunnel goes through an ancient... Another one? Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Okay, I see
Oh,
you.
there you are.
Hi.
Yeah, boop,
Yes.
boop, there you go.
Thank you. I didn't realize I only had 20 left at the time, so I was like, shit, okay.
Just this way for another 600.
Alright.
A straight shot. Very happy with Looter, because now I can actually show you guys this one. Also, if you go through
hell
the
yeah.
central portal, it will teleport you back to the start.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Holy shit, I have never been to one of these.
This is from a mod we have called... Yeah, I'm not surprised. This is from a mod we have called Repurposed Structures. So it takes the basic structures of the game and retextures them for different biomes and dimensions.
Oh, okay.
So we have, like, end temples, as in the Desert Temple. And this end Ancient City, as in the Overworld Ancient City. Diamonds.
Cool.
Yeah. So we can also find, like, Oak Pillager Outposts. Or, we have the Cherry Village is another really good example.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Oh, there's a chest over here. There's a good, like, 6 or so of them around.
Okay.
And then I already looted the central one for Redstone. Yeah, it has a really good loot. The end structures, thankfully, have really good stuff. It still has, like, some basic Farmer's Delight items, but it does have, like, diamonds and what you'd expect from end loot.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
I felt like it was a must-have along with Looter. Oh yeah, there's a boat around here. In the central area.
Damn.
Repurposed structures was a must-have just so we could easily find more structures, and in general, it's just a nice thing to have. Very first day, we did have a oak, or like a hillside, desert temple that we looted together. And then that with Looter lets all of us loot the same structures. Oh yeah, there's a couple endermites. Oh, you can also find mine shafts in the end, too. They're a little harder to come by, but they're there. As well as dungeons, like small dungeons.
Boy.
Chest right there. What did I leave behind? You know, I'll take banners. I'll take some of these.
I like that the loot stays the same even if you take stuff.
Yeah.
That's cool. Hell yeah. There's not really anything good in here though, except for the ender pearl. I'll take that. Whatever. Ooh, that is
there's a city
lot of
nearby.
ender
If you keep heading directly that direction, Racecar, there's a city I have saved over there that I haven't gone to yet. Oh. Endermite.
Oh no!
I got thorns, they just bump me. It's like a kitten trying to bite your ankle. It just doesn't have the same effect. If like a tiger's trying to bite my ankle, then yeah, sure, but kitten, eh. I might worry about like a Maine Coon, but a kitten, nah.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a fair few chests over here in this one. 9, okay.
Whoa, this is so freaking
I actually need to start trying to bring back some more elytras. So I might do that while we're out here. I might be... Does this one? That one did not have a ship. And I assume the one you're at has a ship, so I might be able to cruise back to this city with that elytra chest. I'm heading towards your race car. Oh yeah, if you follow me directly, you will pass over a end nether portal. The gold block's still there if anybody wants that.
Oh dang! That's
yep.
Another portal in the end. That is so cool.
Yeah. There we go. Does anybody want to steal from the elytra chest before I attempt to bring it back?
I would like to, but I need to get up there.
Okay. Now there's a protection 3 and breaking 3 and mending helmet that I have, if anybody wants that.
Give me a second.
Oh, no, I don't want to switch out that helmet. I have a better one. That's Curse of Binding. No thanks. Ooh, 100 looter containers.
Alright. You're good.
Okay. So, time to attempt this all. Hopefully it works. At least there's this thing right here. You can't use anything while you're carrying something with carry-on. So I just kind of have to hope that I can make it. And I'm gonna try and... cheat my way a little bit up. Oh. That'll happen. That was not a smart choice to do. Okay. Can I glide the 1,000 blocks to the end ancient city? Probably not. I crashed. Yeah, I figured. Oh, there I go. Okay, is there a gate that's closer? Or nearby? Seemingly not. There she is. Yep, nope. We are going to cheat our way to victory. Semi. This is gonna be a very weird marker on the server. Hello. I probably should have just done a water column, because this is not gonna get me far. Trying to elytra hop and it don't work. Yeah, because I have a gap to cross here. Alright. That. Nope. Big ham. Hello. Alright, how do we cheat it? I was just gonna call him up and then get a water bucket and go fly from that. It's only 4. Yep, it would help if I put the water bucket up there. Only 400 more. We go bloop. Sacrifice the water bucket. And hopefully I can make it the rest of the way, so we have at least one elytra chest at spawn. It's one full island from here, thankfully, though. There it is. And I will be back in a moment, because I have to bring this all the way back to spawn. Preemptively do that. Because it's going to automatically want me to hold this in my first hand and not number 6. And I didn't even consider that I have to... Staircase. Give. Puzzle. Yep. And I'm still holding it even though I'm not. And finally, they're back at spawn tree. There's one back at spawn. Egg. Okay. Now we have at least one. Semi-progress on that. I'll be back in a moment. Right. Excuse. There we go. Thank you, lag. Appreciate it. So happy about that. Also, Axe, if you've been talking, your mic's not working. Yeah, boop. Oh. And that one. Yep. Almost went right off into the void. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna go out and look for more. I haven't explored a bunch of this area. mob spawner, shulker looter, the dungeons nearby. And I have it show me an ender chest, though. That would be ideal. Ender chest? There's literally nothing out here but the End Islands. Dude, oh, hey! Oh. I have found a ship. Its entire bottom half has been disconnected. Would you happen to know anything about that race car? Yeah. I was about to... Yeah. Nearest one... That. I'm curious as to the why, but I imagine I'm not gonna know. The why is probably gonna be because. Yeah, yep. I would expect no less. It's great that English language is like that. There's like a meme I have saved on my phone that's like, before was, is. Which is frustrating that that is a grammatically correct sentence in the English language. Because what in the world? I may have not planned this through. Is this all connected? Probably not. We gonna find out. Oh. No. No, it is not. Hi, Axe. Oh. Puck, puck. Bucket of puck. Oh, you angered an Enderman. How much? That is not the gate I'm looking at. I'm looking at this bad boy. Northwest gate. Bop. Save. Fantastic. Okay, I'm going towards the wrong gate, but it's fine. It gets me in the general direction. Hello. Hello, everybody that's apparently showing up right here, right now. Good. Nope, barely not enough. This is fine. Just happily waste. Oh, I can't. Gotta fly up. Or fly into it. Can I? Oh, I can't. I could've. Okay. Whatever. Boop. I think the stars for elytra hopping. And make that numero 2. Nope. Up. And time for number 3. Well, actually, I'm gonna need those. And I absolutely forgot to refill my water. Water bucket. Water. We're in a cave. How hard can it be to find that? Apparently very much so. Never mind. Yeah. That's one, but I'll take it. Ooh, thank you. Beautiful. Out of my way, out of my face. Thank you. Goodbye. Now I come back. Whoa. There we go. What? Perfect. And perhaps this direction? Something. Anyway. Mob spawner. I don't care about those. I want a city. And apparently I'm going straight for an end temple I had saved for some reason. Shulker looter? A looter chest and trap chest, because of course it is. I have a feeling Billy Bob. Yeah, Billy Bob's already been here. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Did you... You only looted one of them, which was the untrapped one. What happens if I... put on my chest plate for this? I get rid of that. Nothing happens. Okay, remove TNT. Yeah. Alright. Obsidian, diamonds, apparently purple dye. Alright. I'm stealing all the redstone then. Mine. Actually, what am I... Where is it? Destructor hammer. There we go. Huzzah! Plus obsidian. I'll happily take extra obsidian. That's annoying as hell to get. Yep, well. Give, like go. Yep. Now, is it a crash or on purpose? Give... Who wants Bane of the Arthropods 5? Who wants that? Unnecessary. I get why we still have it in the game, but also unnecessary. Oh, hey, Shulker Shell. And I can't fit a damn thing more in this. Hi, hello. Yeah, yeah. I don't need rotten flesh. Backpack number 2. Up, up, up. Yep. There we go. Okay. And city. Perhaps. Mayhaps. That would be nice to have. I would just like to acquire a there's a mineshaft. I would just like to acquire a third elytra chest. For spawn, that would be ideal. Yep. Here she is. Welcome back. Where? Why? Instead of... I just want a third city, man. Preferably one closer to a gate. That'd be nice to have. Now, speaking of, a gate. And a couple chests for some particular reason. All of which are empty. Interesting choice. West gate. Yes. Why no save? West gate. Save? Thank you. Now all I need to find is the build gate. Where? I know the gateway, I know the looter shulker. Now I want to know the ender chest. Or like, the more looter boxes. That'd be preferable. Perhaps. Just mayhaps. Please. Okay. Against my better judgment, turn up the chunks. Gonna ruin the stream. Great view from up here. Please. Please. Somebody left a shulker box out here, apparently. Shulker box? What? I saw that. Shulker box? Just normal old shulker box. I saw it on my pie chart. Okay. Apparently I didn't. Seriously? I just want a third ancient city. I don't even care if it's been looted before, as long as it still has an elytra. There's a gateway there. Please. Oh, it's a baby city. It's barely got one bridge. That's sad. Have we looted that? Probably. And I've made it all the way over to another gateway I have. Please. Almost feel like it's more productive. And somebody left another shulker box. Almost feel like that's another gateway. I saw it. Okay, I'm right next to it. Yeah. Just want to see. Oh, you're covered because of the coarse fruit. There we go. Another gateway. Commit save. Thank you. Where? Homestead of? Another shulker box somebody left behind, apparently. Please. There's no ship. Shulkers, no ship. That hurts. Come on, there's gotta be one in this general area. Oh, that's a ship. Immediately after I said it, ship comes into view. And it's definitely not been looted, because it has an Enderman head, or, Enderman. It has a dragon head on the front. Okay, fantastic. Great, 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 great. Come to me. Come with me, and you'll see a world of pure bullshittery. Aha! Okay. Third elytra chest incoming. And this time I could actually head straight to a damn gateway. Also, wow, Enderman. God. Where's the blocks? Blocks. That's not a block. Blocks. Oh no, I haven't done the Nether City. That is another thing. Thank you for reminding me. I edited through the stream where you mentioned it, where I said, oh yeah, I'll do it after this. And then I never did. I'm like, I should go do that. And then immediately forgot. Not seconds later. Yeah, I should absolutely go do that one. Boop. And what? Haha! There we go. And I shall tell the PSMP real quick. The elytra chests have been refilled. Or replaced, more like. General. Elytra chests have been replaced. Beautiful. Okay. I will ride over there. I'm assuming head right over. I should still have the waypoint for it. I'm pretty sure I saved it. Yes, I did. Okay. I'll just do a bunch of exploring today. I need to check. Do these still have spawners? Yes. You're a piglin spawner. You're a strider spawner. What are you over here? You're also piglin spawner. Okay. Because I want to find one of the little dungeons. Oh, by the way, I got really pissed off at the ghast. So ghast griefing is now off. Because I should have done that ages ago. And I didn't. Because we do have a mod to turn off Enderman griefing. And I should have just done it with gas. Creepers, I feel like, are a skill issue. But gas and Enderman just do what they want. Also, I have found a jungle nether temple. It doesn't help 2 of them are called temples. So I'm gonna nether jungle temple. Yeah, what? Shear. And hopefully I don't immediately... Oh, it's already been looted. It has definitely already been looted. I'm gonna steal the redstone then. Oh, nether scrap. Nice. And gold blocks. Always good. What? Scrap? No. Another scrap. Happily. Another elytra. We just needed... I just wanted at least 3. And we got those. If you want to try and bring it back, all for it. Go for it. But, what are you? You're just magma cubes. We have one of those. I need to double check what the one is right next to spawn as well. What is this? What's you? Another magma cube. Do you have anything good in your chest, though? I'll take rope. I won't say no to rope. Piglins will say no to me opening a chest, though. Up and over, kind of, little bit. Another one. Oh, that's definitely that's a strider. I can see it from here. Bones. I see all the bones. I'm so curious what the Nether City looks like too. Oh, oh, it's another of the temples and a dungeon. And the dungeon's just striders again. And a mine shaft. Because, of course, everything is right here. Not explored, perhaps. Unless... Not explored. That's a rarity in the server. Templates. Thank you. I'll take... I don't really have anything else good, though. Oh, gold block. Nope. Well. Oh, it's half ruined by the mine shaft anyway. Oop. More templates and a little bit of gold, and that is it. That can't hold anything. You know what? I'll take the stickies and give me that. Bones. I need to go this way if I'm seeing the bones. And I still have 1,000 to go. What is that dungeon? Piglin. Did you get like a map for this? Or did you just explore so much that you found one? Because I'd honestly believe either answer. No map. Yeah, I should have figured. Hey, what is this? Fortress. Okay. Run around. Jesus, far. Like, sure, 2,000 in overworld. 2,000 in another? Feels like forever. Dungeon? What secrets does it hold? It holds piglins. I don't care. I found it. Ooh, I was thinking, ancient city, not an end city. Ooh, that's cool. And I'm getting set on fire. That's cool. Also, I see your random portal for it too. There's a dungeon over here. I'm gonna check it out. Dungeon. What do you have? It's piglins. It looks like it's supposed to have a ship, but it doesn't. Blazing cities. I assume this to be full of naturally spawning blazes or spawners of blazes. And that's a wither skelly. That's a wither skelly. Okay, naturally spawning blazes. Hello, 3 nether scrap. Or netherite scrap. Okay, noted. Cool. Taking notes. What you got? More scrap? 12 gold blocks from 1 chest. I'll take some magma. I'll take that. That ain't half bad. I've already got 8 scrap just from the few structures I found along the way. Damn. And nothing here to be found. That shouldn't hold too much, so check here. There's a portal inside here. And somebody attempting a second portal. That is an entire netherite ingot. Okay. And that's just casually another 4 scrap in a singular chest. This is overpowered. What? That is an unfair amount. I wish we found these before we were dealing with the whole netherite destructor hammers. Excuse me, sir. I'm trying to loot your house. Thanks. Nine blocks. Okay, that just didn't really have anything. Jeez. Still mostly good stuff, though. Majority of the time. Excuse me, sir. Yeah, I know you're trying to guard this place, but it's not gonna happen. Thank you. I feel like I could make a backup set of diamond netherite for all this. Jeez, even more. Excuse, let me open that. Thank you. Is una más? Perhaps? Excuse me. No, no, no. Thank you. I'll take your head as trophy. Yeah. And hidden. Still has some good stuff. And then a fucky way up. Okay. I think I about looted all that I want. Or got close to looting all I wanted. What down here? Is this got a secret? Secret, can you keep it? Get bonked. Get bonked, thank you. Nope, get bonked. Okay. Successfully looted. Nice. That is a fantastic find. I wonder if they made like a different version for the Warped Forest too, because that's definitely a crimson one. Or it could just be the same no matter what. Yeah. That's no small amount of scrap. That is not anything to sneeze at. That's a full set of armor. I don't think it's a diamond netherite, but that is a full set of armor. Hi, hello. I'm probably gonna get achievements from this because I don't think I've done this yet. I want to see where does this lead and if I've seen it before. I have been here before. Oh, I said that so confidently. I have not. Oh my god, I have not. Amazed I didn't get an achievement for it. Oh wait, goat. Is there goat? 1, is there an ancient city under here? Because there probably is. 2, is there goat? Goat! There's plenty of goat. 2, I am willing to bet there's an ancient city under here. Or at least some form of deep dark. I know my mountains. There's something down here. Unless I'm irrevocably incorrect. Is that a creeper spawner? Or there just happen to be 3 creepers lining up at that spawner? No, there just happen to be 3 creepers at the spider spawner. Make it 4. Get out. Get out of my face. Out of my face. Deep dark? Ooh. I just must have gone down the wrong cave system then. Bip, 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 bip. Bip, bip, bip. Nope. I don't need tomato. How do I get over to... I'm just gonna get out and try a different cave start. I mine down. Yeah, that checks. I shouldn't be surprised, yet I am. Where did I come from? That is the question. I saw that. Oh, there we go. That is where. There's gotta be a cave down to it, though. There's gotta be. See where you are. Now, can I reach that? Yes. With some careful flying. Yep, there it is. And I gotta be careful, because it can hear me. Oop. Oh, there we go. It can hear me talking. Okay, I will cheaty, because... How do I get over there? Almost hit the lava. There's the biggin. There's Big Cave. No city, but yes, a deep dark. I know my mountains. If it's snowy, it's probably a deep dark. Like 9 out of 10 times. Even 99 out of 100 times. Oh, there is a cave directly down into it. I knew it. Okay, and then actually head home. Jeez, we're like over 5,000. You are just flying that in the overworld? You know, yeah, I should have expected. Never mind. I take back my question. Did it once. I am not surprised. I am not. I'm gonna turn down my chunks before I forget again. Apply. Yeah, this way home. Somewhere this way. Jeez. This is gonna take forever. 6,000 in the overworld. I almost want to go up and break bedrock, because I feel like it'd be faster to just fly that way. I'll not break bedrock, but go through it. Hurl through it. Good ball. 20k block? I thought it said 6,000. Because that spot in the overworld was at 6,000 something. I might have been only reading the second one and not the first then. Another. It can't be 20 because it is like 2,000 blocks out. And it's like multiplied by 8, not 10. So it definitely is at 8, but... Where is that actually? Hold on. Yeah, it's 2,000 out, so it physically... I don't think it can be a full 20k. Hold on, let me get back, and then I'll look at the... Hey! Hub! Pop a boat down. Oop. I love the hub. I'm so happy it's done. I love having the hub. It's great. Hold away. Okay, finally back to my base. How far is it? $17,000 and $6,000. Okay. I was reading only the second one. Yeah, bonk. Well, I opened the window at the time, the correct time, so no bonk, but bonk. My mini compass is having my mini map's having problems. It still thinks I'm in the nether. That's a problem. That I'm gonna go into the nether and come back out again, because that's a problem. Nether's fine. Overworld? Now Overworld's fine. Okay. Cool. Just had to remind itself how it actually works. Okay. That's actually a fantastic time to leave off. It's actually pretty perfect. It's 11 AM, which is where I want to end. I will be on for a few minutes longer so I can organize stuff out, and then I'm gonna head out. Thank you all for joining me for stream. Next stream will be tomorrow. I'm actually going to start tomorrow with Dungeons of Dreadrock, which is a indie game that I want to play on stream for a little project that I will be working on in the behind the scenes. That should hopefully be out February 1st. Yeah, that'll be it. And then after that, hopefully we will still do some Passion SMP, probably hanging around or getting this and that done. Hope you all have a good night, or a good day, because it is morning. I'm used to streaming at night. Hope you all have a good night. Have a good day.